Okay, I would like to welcome everyone to a joint live event with the Mansfield Area Chamber of Commerce and Merit. Merit is Manufacturing in Excellence through Research and Technology, but I'm going to let Michael tell you about Merit. Just to kind of kick off what it is that we're doing, over the past, 100 and some odd years, we have felt probably more control over our lives. In fact, we've probably expected some stability. And with this last pandemic, we've probably changed the world dramatically in such a very short time. And so I want to talk to our leaders in manufacturing today and talk about how it has impacted their industry. So without further ado, I'm going to ask everyone to introduce themselves. And Patrick, if you'll go first, we'll just go around, and Michael, you'll go last and intro Merit, and then we'll get into our discussion.
Okay, I'm Patrick O'Connell. I am the Vice President of Supply Chain Operations and Fulfillment Distribution for Williams and Sonoma. I've been with the organization 14 years. We have a very large site here in Arlington, Texas. That's 900,000 square feet that I actively lead daily.
Morning, everybody. I'm John Simpson, General Manager of Southern Champion Trade, the Mansfield, Texas operations. We're a 95-year-old family business headquartered in Chattanooga, Tennessee. We make food. We make paperboard packaging. Our Chattanooga facility does food service, which is your C-stores, trays, to-go containers, bakery, those sort of things. Here in Mansfield, we do highly printed food retail packaging predominantly, and we've been here in Mansfield for 35 plus years.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Michael Klein with Klein Tools. Currently doing some business development for one of our sub companies, but I'm also one of the many owners of the company. Been around for 163 years now. Family owned and operated company, headquartered in Chicago, but our manufacturing headquarters are down in Mansfield, and we've got now over half a million square feet under roof that we've developed in the last 10 years. So look forward to continuing to develop the relationship in Mansfield. And just a little bit about me. I've been with the company 17 years and done a little bit of everything in terms of manufacturing. We manufacture hand tools and products for the professional trades people out there. So all your electricians, telecom, plumbers, HVAC techs. We have pretty much everything that you could possibly want or need in terms of tools. I'm also the current president of an organization called Southwest Merit. As Lori indicated earlier, it's really about identifying how we can achieve manufacturing excellence through research, innovation, and technology. And what does that mean? It's really a network of business owners, business leaders that are in the kind of Southwest part of the Metroplex. That come together on a quarterly basis to discuss various topics to help us improve our businesses, whether it's identifying how to better bring people into the organization, whether it's understanding how we can improve our health and wellness benefits, or whether it's looking at something specific around political atmosphere that's affecting businesses in the area. So if you are interested, you can go to our website, www.southwestmerit.org, and learn more. I'll end there and let Lori continue with the conversation.
Okay, so just to kind of, I've got a little bit of a thought process we're going to go through here, but if I could get each of you to share what you feel the biggest challenge has been since COVID in regards to your facilities.
Okay, I can lead it off, and for us here at Williams Sonoma, I think our biggest challenge has been, in our facility here in Arlington, we have about 600 people within our facility daily. And a lot of our equipment is shared equipment, whether it's forklift equipment or computers and RF scanners. There is a lot of shared equipment within our facility. And as the COVID virus was, developing early on, we knew that was a real big opportunity for us in that regard. And we acted pretty quickly, but a lot of people sharing computer stations, workstations, and it became real challenging for us to ensure that not only did we have the right cleaning supplies and execution in that, but how we balanced our shifts to make sure we had enough time in between to ensure we can do all of that. And during this time, our business has been really strong. There hasn't been a real blip in the radar. We've increased orders out of this facility during this time. So we're bringing new people on, and again, it just became really a fluid situation for us with the shared equipment that we have here.
So I'll go next. In addition, Patrick, very similar things from a sanitation standpoint, although we had a good start because we're food safety certified. So sanitation was one of our core competencies to begin with, but spatial distancing in manufacturing is always a challenge. Sanitation between shifts using common areas, like you alluded, is a challenge. So allowing machine time for that. Frankly, our biggest challenge within COVID is hiring people. We can't hire anybody, and that's across the broad spectrum of skills. So that is a big challenge. And frankly, one of our biggest challenges is keeping our team members safe once they leave here. We feel real confident that while they're within our facility, that we're safe and we're sanitary. Lord knows what happens once everybody leaves and go out into grocery stores and restaurants and just all the public places. So we're blessed that we have not had an internally generated or spread COVID case thus far, but that's our challenge.
Yeah, and I think from our facilities here in Texas, I think that's probably very similar, right? Is protecting the people while they're at work, and obviously at the beginning of this, it was a matter of moving people around, figuring out how to do spatial, distancing, how to change shifts around, all those kinds of things. And they all present unique challenges. We're all learning as we go, and so from that perspective, I think the challenges that we faced are very similar to what you guys faced. I would agree with John. I think since over the last 4 to 6 weeks, as businesses are really starting to ramp back up, and especially on from our end, the distributors, the retailers that are buying our products, and then end users, demand has been really pretty strong. Not quite to where it was prior to the pandemic, but it's getting there. And so from our perspective, hiring the right people, getting people in the door and having them stay is certainly a challenge that we're working through right now, to make sure that we have the right people to sustain the consistent demand.
So what has been probably the best practice or policy that you guys have implemented that you could share with us?
So I think from Klein Tools perspective, communication. I think you cannot communicate with the employees enough, and I know we've done a really good job of that in terms of making sure that all the leaders are aware of expectations, going through and making sure everybody understands what protocols to follow, what bathrooms to use and how to use them. I mean, it's funny, but it's true. I mean, just communicating with the employees, setting expectations, and really making sure that they understand that, our manufacturing team leaders and executive leaders are right there with them. They understand the pain, and making sure that the employees understand that this is really just for their safety. And you know, and so that from that perspective, I think communication, in terms of, you know, technology, you know, we were able to get some facial scanners to do temperatures, and that's been really helpful for us because it avoids you know, having to use the thermometers and stuff like that. And really, so when we have people coming in the door, they stick their head in the little scanner, and it's a crude and simple method, but we use the stickers. So we give everybody a different colored sticker every day to know, you know, okay, you passed. And so then when they're coming in and out, we know, you know, if anybody didn't do that, that they didn't get a sticker. So it's simple, but it works. So.
So a couple things that we've done. We've, you know, in addition to keeping our people safe, we're also, you know, we're working on risk mitigation. That is, how do we continue to serve our customers in the case that there is a significant event. So one of the things we did is we used to have one single point of entry. Now we have 6. We used to have freedom to go anywhere within the plant. Now we have structured zones, and they're colored zones, and everybody's restricted to these zones that not only help keep them with fewer contact points during the day, but in the event that we do have a COVID positive, we can focus on that zone and not worry about necessarily the rest of the facility. Similar to Michael, communication is a big deal. We've used alert media, which gives anytime we have a COVID positive, you can send out something that gets to 700 people, you know, immediately, so they know what's going on. We're also doing weekly videos that get sent to each of our team members, and then just little things. For example, in the office, we have within someone's work area, if it's in a pub, if it's not a restricted office, you know, we have tape to show where that 6-foot barrier is. Just little simple reminders like that. And there was a few, you know, this is manufacturing, so there's a few places that it was really difficult for us to provide for spatial distancing. So in those instances, we engineered some form of separation, whether it's plexiglass or what have you. Our maintenance team has done a really good job providing for barriers where they were difficult to keep people separated all day long.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like we all have the same playbook, right? I mean, we all are doing the wellness screenings, you know, before arrival. You know, the cleaning policies we put in place and our shared equipment has been instrumental. You know, our mask mandate, you know, was really big and get everyone to buy in on that. You know, we did the tape out in the cubicles and everything that was mentioned. We have the plexiglass in the break rooms. You know, the one thing that we did with shared equipment when it came to computers that I thought was great, we bought wireless keyboard and mouses. And so you know, those associates are now have their own and they put it in their locker. So, you know, it's things like that. But to go back to Michael's point, I think the biggest thing, you know, as a leadership group here, I wanted to be transparent. You know, we weren't going to hide anything. You know, we are constantly in communication with our associates to make sure they understand that their safety is priority number one. And we use them in our local, you know, risk mitigation, right? So weekly, I'll walk out there and we'll pick a couple of associates from each department and we'll just look at their areas. And we do this still today, even though it's, you know, 4 months in, because there's always a learning opportunity or something changes or something happens. And, you know, we'll start making changes and then we just communicate why we're doing it, what we're doing, and how important it is to do it. And, you know, we're very consistent in our approach. We're very consistent in our accountability that all of our associates have to follow it no matter the level of position, and that we're all in this together. And that transparency, I think, has made everyone feel really comfortable to come to work every day. Because as John mentioned earlier, I feel right now we can keep everybody safe inside these 4 walls, no problem. It's what happens outside these 4 walls that, you know, is tough to control.
Okay, I want to shift gears and I want to talk about the future. And what do you feel the impact of COVID is going to be on whether it's your business or your industry moving forward? What do you see? What are you forecasting?
Well, For me, there's a couple things, right? Number one, I'm opening up a new building here in Arlington, in addition to the 900,000 square feet right now. We're opening up another 240,000 square feet. We have another facility in Grand Prairie. So our business is, again, really strong. You know, from an operations perspective, I think what's been really interesting is the design and layout, right? In our break rooms and common areas, you know, a lot of times you're trying to maximize space as best you can, right? And get as many people, you know, inside these departments as you can. And you just can't do that anymore. So there's much more flexibility in our design with cubicles and our open floor plans that we're doing rather than the cubicle type of setup. How we're designing break rooms in those areas to make sure that social distancing can occur, because this will be around probably for a long time. So the design and execution of a brand new facility, the conversation you used to have years ago about maximizing space, now we're trying to be more efficient to make sure that we could do social distancing in all sites. So it's quite interesting dealing with it right now, right across the street.
You know, we too have been very robust, being food retail packaging concentrated, and you see the store shelves are getting replenished, but things are still flying off the shelves. So, you know, just we're watchful to see what that demand looks like. And so that's one thing. We're also wondering what the future is, the labor shortage, short term or long term. So automation is being talked about at a heightened level for sure. Few things that I guess I had a few biases before, and I thought working from home would not be effective. Boy, did I get a good lesson there. It's been very effective. So now going forward, we know we will have a hybrid model. Zoom is here to stay, and it's very effective technology. And so we've learned that there's plenty of ways to still keep our team members engaged, productive. It's not 100% ideal, but in a few cases, I guess you could argue that there's been a little bit more productive for certain functions. Our frustration is we are a very celebratory organization, and celebrations are tough. We haven't figured that out. If y'all have some ideas, please send them, because you know we're still doing them, but it just loses a little bit of impact when you're doing high fives with 5 people rather than a couple hundred. So we're still sorting through that.
Yeah, and I'll just touch on that too, John. I know our manufacturing teams, it's been a tough one. I mean, Klein Tools, one of our facilities, just hit 1 million safety hours, you know, hours worked with no lost time incident, and you know, trying to celebrate that and with you know 200 people in your facility it's tough. And but we've learned to, you know, the team comes up with creative new ways, and everybody feels like they're involved. And but I would say, you know, I think the future for Klein, I mean, we've certainly seen higher demand for our products out of different areas. So e-commerce for us has been very strong. You know, Home Depot, who's a strategic partner with Klein Tools, has been especially strong this year. You know, to the point where, you know, and that's a challenge for us too, that we've been working with them on, is, you know, shipping stuff. You know, they can't, because of the logistics of, we generally ship to regional distribution centers, and then those centers ship out to different stores. We've actually recently had to ship stuff directly to stores just to help Home Depot get product back on the shelves. Similar to Patrick, we just opened up a distribution center down here in Mansfield a few months ago, and we've still been transitioning activities and really kind of expedited them through this whole process, and are probably at, you know, shipping 95% of the stuff now out of our facility down here in Mansfield. But as Patrick mentioned, it's a challenge when you're you know, having to unload and move stuff around and picking stuff and keeping people separated, and all those things present a challenge when you're trying to get stuff through as quickly as possible and leverage the resources that you have. But at the same time, like John said, learning and understanding what working remotely means for different people. I can tell you that Klein, we were very successful in transitioning remote people. We transitioned our entire customer service team within about 72 hours from everybody in the office to everybody working from home. Now, that's not the most ideal situation, but there are certainly areas of the business that can certainly be supported by working remotely. And we were seeing demand for that, even before this pandemic. So it kind of just accelerated everybody's thought process. And I don't think it's just the three of us on the phone today. It's worldwide. Everybody's starting to think about, okay, what does travel look like, going forward? I think that's going to be very interesting to see, because you're not necessarily going to have people flying over, overseas to visit a facility to talk to somebody. We can jump on a call like we are today, and you can see everybody, you can see product and all those kinds of things. So I think it's going to be very interesting to see kind of where this all goes. But there's definitely going to be shifts in markets on how business is conducted, for sure.
Anything in regards to technology that you guys have done differently that you'll continue to do moving forward?
I mean, I'm sure Patrick, it's similar with a new facility coming online, with the distribution center, just upgrading our technology from what we were doing before has been a big help in terms of how we move stuff through the facility. How we pick stuff today is different than how we were doing it before. I think people are looking at data capturing, data analyzation, methodology and software, and how they can pull stuff in to read what machines are doing. Machine learning is becoming a huge push, more so in the last few months, especially on the manufacturing side.
Yeah, I mean, and add to that, a lot of training that we used to do, hands-on is now done, virtually. To transition a lot of those things to virtual was not an easy task to do. But, as John was alluding to, we're about celebrations and training and development, and you can't put 25, 30 people in a conference room anymore and do those things. So using those tools virtually to onboard new associates and new leadership was definitely something that, we hurry up and try to get it together, and we've done pretty well. And, it's different, because we are a very people-driven organization. We like interaction. And, it's tough sometimes to get that through a screen. And we're going to continue to develop that, whether it's training and onboarding and even interviewing and all that, that we used to do in person, and the facilities that we have around the country that now I'm doing Zoom meetings like this to get updates. And it's definitely interesting. And I think that's here probably for the long haul. It's one of those things that change that's going to stay with us, forever.
Last question. Do you guys have any words of wisdom or best advice that you could give to any other business, just based upon the things that you've gone through, the things that you've seen, the things that you see in the future? What would be your best advice for another business out there?
I'll go first. I think we need to do, as leaders, a much more thorough job on contingency planning than perhaps we have in the past. We're a very safety-oriented company, so we always have that mindset of what could go wrong. But in regards to COVID, you make that even a bigger conversation. So, how are we going to serve our customers if we have a 30% reduction in our workforce for a couple of weeks? How are we going to respond to changes in the marketplace if this A, continues, B, gets back to normal, C, so it's contingency planning. And I guess that's just, it's more critically important now than ever, because the new normals, there is no new normal yet. So we got to arm ourselves and be ready for that. And so that, I guess that would be the biggest thing I would encourage everybody to think about is how are we going to serve customers given all these potential changes, and then also how do I'm still anxious to hear any feedback on this whole engagement celebratory aspect of employees. Someone's going to come up with a brilliant idea, and I can't wait for it.
Yeah, I think one of the things that, I try to teach the leadership team here is how important you are to our people. During times like this, I think, us as leaders, we take it for granted sometimes, the importance and impact that we have on our own population and our own community inside our four walls, and to provide them security in a time, when there's a lot of, unemployment, and all three of us are looking to hire, by the way, and to provide them security and a safe place to work. I think all three of us have mentioned safety is the paramount for what we do. And I think a lot of times, when you're in the thick of things and you're trying to get orders out the door, you lose sight of the important role that you play for your people. And I think we've gotten a lot closer as a group, not physically, obviously, but just as a team, because we are a family. Even though we're a really large organization, we operate that way. And it's very impactful to hear the stories of how thankful people are to be here and what we do for them, to take care of them, to give them a secure paycheck, and to give them an environment that they know that they're safe in and that they're cared for. So that really hit home for a lot of us here. Sometimes you just need a reminder, and I think we all got that over these past 4 months.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say, the biggest thing is, as leaders, is you got to react relatively quickly. And I think you've heard from all three of us today that, for the most part, these companies all reacted quickly to what was going on, and shifted thought process, really thinking creatively outside the box, in terms of the workforce, how you handle safety, how you bring people into the building. There's certainly learning curves that we all went through. And you went through these phases of getting to where we are today, but we all got there pretty quickly. I would guess, probably within, mid-March, that third week of March, most of companies like ours, industrial manufacturing companies, with large workforces, quickly adapted and understood, okay, here's how we're going to need to respond and go through our daily business in terms of, here's how we keep people safe. Here's how we get them in the building. Here's how we get them to their workstation. Here's how we keep them safe throughout the day. And here's how we exit them out of the facility in a safe and manner that allows them to return the next day. Because as you've heard from all of us, employees are important. And if they're not there, it really makes doing what we do very difficult. So
Hey, Laurie,
Okay.
let me have one quick additional comment.
Sure.
As business owners and everybody that's watching this call, the one thing we need to do is to get the attention of our elected officials. This labor shortage is not a real shortage. It's a legislated shortage. They got to start listening to business and allow us to take care of our customers. It's ridiculous that no one wants to work with this level of employment. So that's what we can do.
All right. Good words. Okay. Well, thank you guys very much for participating and for sharing your experiences and your knowledge. And we will see you next time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay.